Once upon a time, in a land on the east, there lived a poor but very good-hearted boy named Aladdin. Living with his mother, Aladdin did the hardest jobs, went the furthest distances, just to earn their living. One day, he was going far away to get some bananas to sell in the market. Suddenly, he came across a well-dressed man with a beard and a dark look. The man talked, showing the gold in his hands.
Hello, my boy. I'm an old friend of your father's. Would you like to win a gold coin?
A gold coin? If I pick bananas for the rest of my life, I still wouldn't earn that much money.
The man asked Aladdin to go down the hole, under the rock, a little further away, and asked him to do as he said. Aladdin thought that this was a very easy task. Together, they pushed the rock further away and watched as the hole appeared. Being as tiny and as agile as he was, he managed to go through the hole. Inside, he found a very narrow staircase, and down he went. When he made it to the bottom, he saw that the cave was lightened up with an old lamp. He couldn't believe his eyes. Inside the cave were precious stones, gold, and was full of treasure. While still at shock, Aladdin got scared from the voice he heard from up above.
Lamp! Have you seen the lamp? Turn the light out and just bring the lamp to me.
Out of all that treasure and gold that was lying there, Aladdin couldn't believe that the only thing that the man had wanted was this old, worthless lamp. Now, Aladdin was scared. Aladdin took the lamp and began climbing up the staircase. But before he did anything, the man started to yell.
Give me that lamp, quickly!
Aladdin couldn't understand the man's behavior.
First, I want to get out of here.
If you don't give me the lamp, this instant I will lock you up in this cave forever!
At that point, Aladdin knew that this man was up to no good.
No, first I want to get out of here.
All right then, you asked for it.
Hey, stop! What are you doing?
Unaware of dropping his ring in the cave, the man pushed the rock back on the hole and left Aladdin there. Aladdin saw the ring on the floor. And as soon as he picked it up and put it on, with a tremendous noise, the cave lit up in a pink cloud, and from the cloud appeared what seemed to be a giant. In fear, Aladdin took a look at the giant.
Wish for anything you want, but don't you forget, you only have 3 wishes.
I wish to go home.
Okay, my boy.
With a glimpse, Aladdin was back at home. Seeing her son appearing from nowhere, Aladdin's mum began to scream. Aladdin explained to his mother all that had happened. He told her that he wasn't able to get the gold, but instead was left with this old lamp. Wanting to clean the lamp, Aladdin began to rub it. Suddenly, the fumes coming out of the lamp covered the whole room, and a genie appeared from nowhere.
Woohoo! Wow, man, I've been trapped in this lamp for hundreds of years, and you saved me! Well, wish for anything you want.
Stunned and frozen, Aladdin and his mother kept staring at the genie. The genie repeated what he said.
Wish for anything you want. Well, in that case, prepare us a table full of delicious food and drinks.
All of a sudden, a feast table appeared in the middle of the room with all kinds of food, fruits, and sweets. From that day on, thanks to the magic lamp, anything Aladdin and his mother wished for came true. They were living a rich and happy life. A long time passed by. One day, when passing through the market, Aladdin saw Princess Jasmine, the king's daughter, on a silver throne carried by the soldiers. And he fell in love with her. He went home and told about it to his mum. And his mum prepared a chest full of gold with the genie's help and went to the castle. She told the guards that she had brought a present to the Sultan. Liking the present very much, the Sultan called her to his presence. When she told him about her son's intentions, the Sultan asked her to prove her son's wealth and power.
If your son wants to marry my daughter, tell him to send me 40 slaves, each carrying a chest full of precious stones, and they should be followed by 40 soldiers to protect them.
Hearing the Sultan's wish, Aladdin's mother turned back home sad, because she thought that even the genie would not be able to grant a wish this big. Aladdin picked up the lamp and rubbed it harder than ever, and the genie came out.
Well, wish for anything you want.
Aladdin told him about the Sultan's wishes. The genie clapped 3 times, and suddenly right beside them appeared 40 slaves with chests full of treasure and 40 soldiers protecting them. The next day, seeing that all he had wished for was right there in front of his eyes, the Sultan was very impressed. He wondered how rich Aladdin was.
I want my daughter to live in a big and fancy castle. That is the only way I will let my daughter marry you.
Aladdin told the Sultan's wish to the genie. Genie granted his wish right away. Aladdin could not believe his eyes. A gorgeous, fancy castle was standing right next to their home. He couldn't believe his eyes. Sultan thought that he could not find a richer husband than Aladdin. Aladdin and Princess Jasmine had a huge wedding that went on for 3 days. Everybody heard about Aladdin's luck and wealth, but Aladdin and his mother did not say anything about the genie to Jasmine. One day, a salesman came next to Aladdin's castle.
Old lamps! Old lamps! I buy and sell old lamps. I buy anything that's old.
Jasmine heard the salesman yelling and thought that if she would exchange the old lamp with a new one, it would make Aladdin very happy. She gave the salesman the magic lamp and got a new one. The salesman was actually the evil man who trapped Aladdin in the hole where it all started. When he got a hold of the lamp, he immediately ordered the genie to move the castle far away with Jasmine in it. When Aladdin returned home that evening, the castle was nowhere to be seen. He knew something very bad had happened. Their old house next to the castle was still standing. He ran home right away and found the ring he found in the cave. As soon as he put it on his finger, the giant appeared once again.
Wish for anything you want. But don't forget, you only have 2 wishes left.
Take me next to Jasmine right away.
As soon as he finished his talking, he found himself in the castle. He hid immediately. His wife Jasmine was serving the evil man. He was holding the lamp in his hands. When no one could see him, Aladdin put the ring back on, and the giant appeared again.
Wish for anything you want, but don't forget, you only have 1 wish left.
Let that evil man go in a very long and deep sleep.
As soon as he finished his words, he ran next to his wife. Jasmine was looking at the evil man in fear. When she saw Aladdin, she got very happy. Aladdin told Jasmine all that had happened from the beginning. Jasmine listened to him with amazement. Aladdin rubbed the lamp again. The genie appeared.
Well, wish for anything you want.
Send this evil man so far away that he can never ever find us again.
The sleeping man suddenly vanished. Aladdin asked the genie to carry the castle to its old spot.
Take us and the castle home.
The castle flew in the sky and landed back where it was before. With the castle back in its old place, Aladdin was finally next to his mother again. Aladdin, his mother, and the princess lived happily ever after. Once there lived a family not too far out from where we all lived. The Darling family. The Darling family had 3 children. Their names were Jan, Michael, and Wendy. Wendy would always tell her mum how Peter Pan would always play the flute in her room. Her mother would always tell her that she was imagining things, but couldn't help but notice the leaves in the room, which always confused her a bit. Wendy would always say that the leaves fall off Peter Pan. One night, when their parents went out for the night, the kids were left home all alone, and when they got sleepy, they all went to sleep. Peter Pan silently entered their room and started looking for the leaves he had left behind. At that moment, Wendy woke up. Peter Pan, I was waiting for you. Nobody would believe that you're real. Wendy gave back the leaves she had been hiding for Peter. She really liked Peter, and so they sewed his leaves back on his clothing.
Wendy, would you like me to tell you an amazing adventure story?
I don't want to hear about an adventure. I want to live one, Peter Pan. Right at that moment, Peter's small fairy friend, Tinkerbell, entered through the window.
Well, of course. I knew you'd be here. Are you getting ready for a new adventure without me?
You know it's not possible for me to do anything without you.
Wendy woke her siblings up. Her siblings looked at Peter Pan and Tinkerbell with great confusion.
Well, are you ready to fly?
Tinkerbell scattered her fairy dust and off they went floating into thin air, and all together they left the house. The kids headed towards Neverland at once. After a long journey, they arrived at Neverland, and there they were. The mermaids, wild animals, Indians, pirates, and the lost boys were there too. Amongst them all was the most dangerous of them, called Captain Hook. Captain Hook was Peter Pan's enemy. The reason for this was because when they were fighting, Peter cut his arm and a huge crocodile ate it. Along with his arm, he also swallowed his watch, and because of this, the crocodile would always make a tick-tock noise. And so Captain Hook would always know if the crocodile was near from the noise. When looking around with his binoculars on the deck, Captain Hook spotted Peter Pan and kids looking at him from the top of a hill. He immediately ordered the men to fire the cannons. It was very hard for Peter Pan and the kids to get away from the cannons.
Tinkerbell, you take the kids to a safe place. I will deal with Hook.
Tinkerbell was very jealous of Wendy, so she wanted to keep her away from Peter Pan. With some made-up excuse, she left Wendy back on the hill and brought Jan and Michael to a safe place down at the beach.
The lost boys who lived on the island saw Wendy from afar, and thinking that she was an enemy, they wounded her. At the same time, Peter Pan was fighting with Captain Hook, but seeing the crocodile that got his arm suddenly reappearing, Hook ran away in fear.
Ah!
Whilst Peter Pan was coming back, he saw Wendy lying on the rocks wounded, and he was very upset.
And the lost boys were very sorry when they realized that the girl that they had wounded was Peter Pan's friend.
I have left the kids in your care.
Tinkerbell was so sorry. She also realized that what she did was wrong. I am so sorry, Peter. This will never happen again, I promise. Lost boys made a beautiful home for Wendy and her brothers. At night, they all would sleep in the house underneath the trees, listening to Wendy's stories. And Peter Pan would keep guard in front of the house. One day, when they were resting on the rocks, they spotted the pirates approaching. The pirates took the Indian chief's daughter hostage. Peter Pan and the boys went after to save the chief's daughter. And there was a big battle between them and the pirates. In the end, they saved his daughter and brought her to the chief. After that day, the Indians, Peter Pan, and the lost boys became very close friends. In fact, the chief ordered 2 of his best men in Peter Pan's command to guard the boys. Of course, Captain Hook was furious about this.
One day I will beat you, Peter Pan, and you will not be able to get away.
One night, when Wendy started to tell the story of her family, Peter realized how much she and her brothers missed their home. So he told them that they could go back if they wanted to, but that he wanted to stay. When they all were packing up for their long journey, they were attacked by the pirates. The pirates caught the boys after they set up a trap to the Indians and captured them. Peter Pan was sleeping at home, not knowing all that happened to the boys. Captain Hook saw him sleeping, but he could not open the door to Peter Pan's treehouse. Still, he poured the poison in the bottle he was carrying under the door, causing Peter Pan to sleep for hours. Peter Pan slept one whole day, and when he woke up, Tinkerbell entered. After she told him all that had happened, Peter Pan and Tinkerbell went out to rescue the boys. When they arrived to the Happy Rock, the pirates' headquarters, they saw that there was no pirate on guard. And when they went over to the other side of the rock, they were shocked from what they saw. Wendy, Jan, and Michael and the lost boys were all tied up to the poles, and Captain Hook was holding a torch in flames.
Say your last words.
As their eldest, Wendy began to talk. Dear friends, my last words to you will be the words your real mothers would have told you. If they were here, they would have told you not to be afraid and be courageous to face your death. Don't be afraid. Kindness always wins. Always. Captain Hook got very angry with Wendy's words, so he brought her to the boat and tied her to the big pole. At this moment, Peter Pan and Tinkerbell reached out to save the boys. At the same time, the Indians and their chief came to help. This made Peter Pan so happy, because with their help, they rescued the boys. It was now time to get Wendy. Peter Pan and the Lost Boys got on Captain Hook's ship where only a few pirates remained. And when they realized that they would be beaten, they jumped off the ship.
There's nowhere to hide, Hook. Surrender!
Peter Pan and the Lost Boys started to charge towards Captain Hook, pushing him to walk backwards, and suddenly he heard the noise, the one noise that he was most afraid of. When Captain Hook looked back in fear, he saw the crook waiting for him to fall down into the water.
Help!
In a flash, he ran to the other side of the boat, jumped and started to swim as fast as he could. Peter Pan and the Lost Boys began to laugh. From that moment on, Hook's ship belonged to the Lost Boys and their captain was Peter Pan.
The crew is ready for your orders, Captain Peter. Sail away!
The boys untied the ropes and the sails blew up with all their might.
Tinkerbell, fly us away to the home of the Darling family.
The kids were very happy to hear this. Wendy, Jan and Michael were going to reunite with their parents they had dearly missed. When Tinkerbell sprinkled the fairy dust, suddenly the ship was airborne and started to fly in the sky. Wendy was restless to get home and tell her parents all about Peter Pan, Tinkerbell and the Neverland. From that day on, Neverland was going to be their second home and Peter Pan their best friend.